Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are doing well this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow. Good to see you.
You also, thank you. Let's see, whenever you all are ready.
Ms. Milton's going to start at ACDC first.
Yes,
Okay.
good afternoon, Your Honor. We are ready with position 1, Miss ARROYO. Please come forward and have a seat, young lady.
And who's representing Mr. Arroyo this afternoon?
I am, Your Honor.
Oh,
PDF.
yes. Good afternoon, Ms. Abden. Good afternoon, Ms. Arroyo or Baca. My name is Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 006851F with harassing communications. Afternoon, Mr. Howard. Is there a history?
Hey, fifth arrest, 2022 driving without a valid license, 2016 probation, 2016 disorderly conduct conviction. That's it.
Yes. Who's presenting for the state? Mr. Pierre Thomas.
Your Honor, one moment. I can present for the state. I assume someone else was on. One moment. Your Honor, the facts of this case is that on August 23rd, 2023, while pulling into Sandy Springs Charter Middle School, Chanel Hernandez, looks like a juvenile, received several calls from a number. The number belonged to the parents of Brian Herrera Acabara, whose mother is Adriana Ariayo Acabara. Brian was named in calling Black kids the N-word and ended up getting into a fight. Looks like case number 2023013995. The defendant thought Charnel was threatening her son via text message and group chat and called Charnel while she was pulling in to the school on the school's campus. The defendant also left voicemail saying that she would verbally attack Charnel. Also, the number is listed as Brian's emergency contact page. Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, a no contact with Chanel Hernandez or her family members. If we can, she's juvenile, my apologies. A stay away from the incident location of 8750 Pride Place, Sandy Springs Charter School, and in the completion of an anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Does she have children at that school? Is there any reason for her to be there?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. Let me double check.
Your Honor, it's my understanding that one of her children, the 13-year-old who is her kid in this case, he does go there, but she did tell me that she plans to withdraw him from the school and that he plans to go somewhere else.
Okay, so does she have a need to go back to that location, Ms. Abden?
I don't think so, but if we can just double check with her, I'm assuming if she's going to withdraw one kid, then the remaining would be withdrawn as well.
Do you have a need to go back to the Pride Place address, Ms. Arroyo?
No, sir. I'll withdraw him, and I don't need to be there anymore.
Okay, so Ms. Abden, I'm going to send this through the jail. If it's all right with you, a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with the minor Hernandez. Stay away from the Pride Place address, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Arroyo.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Next, we have position 5, Miss Davis.
Good afternoon, Ms. Davis. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Davis, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0068508 with theft by deception. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
6 total. Last arrest was June 2023. Armed robbery, suspended license. She has a 2016 battery DV Nolo, and she's on loan out from Spalding County. That's all.
Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Your Honor, the facts of this case is that on November 11, 2022, the defendant purchased a wig online at Glamour Girls, the business of Faith Thomas, looks like. The defendant received the wig and then filed a charge back to her credit card company. The defendant posted a photo in the wig indicating that she had received it, and subsequently blocked Faith Tom, THOM, from contacting her. The wig was not yet paid for and is valued at $300. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no contact with Miss THOM, Faith Tom, and a stay away from Glamour Girls business, and a no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. If at this time we could sound for the victim, Miss Tom, that'd be greatly appreciated. In accordance with this law, Your Honor.
Where is Glamour Girls located?
It looks like it appears that it is located at, one moment, Your Honor.
While you find that, Mr. Pierre Thomas, if Ms. Faith Tom is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
Your Honor, I don't think she will be on today. We heard this case yesterday, but Miss Davis had another court date, so she did not appear in court. And the recommendation from the state yesterday was a signature bond through the jail, and I'm happy to present further bond factors if Your Honor is inclined to hearing them.
My bond order was going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail, no further contact with Faith Tom, stay away from Glamour Girls when I receive the address as to where that is located, so she'll know exactly where she needs to stay away from, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Would that suit you, Ms. Abden?
Absolutely. Thank you, Your Honor. No objections to that.
And my apologies, Your Honor. I believe the issue is this is a private citizen's warrant, so it doesn't come with all the information, but I'm looking it up right now.
Your Honor, I think it might be like a website.
Is it an online business?
I believe so. I think that's what we heard yesterday. I'm not 100%
Okay.
sure, but that's what I remember.
I do believe
Okay.
it is an online business, Your Honor.
Okay, well, no going back to the online business of Glamour Girls. Okay?
Yes,
Good
sir.
luck to you, Ms.
Thank
Davis.
you.
You're welcome.
Next, we have position 10, Miss Henry.
Good afternoon, Ms. Henry. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Henry, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0068557Y with criminal trespass. Is there a history?
Second arrest. Last arrest was October 30th. That was for criminal trespass. That case was NOD by the state. And she's back here now.
Mr. Pierre Thomas?
You know, the facts of the case is that on November 2nd, 2023, the officer responded to a criminal trespass call at Starbucks, which is located at 267, Marietta Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia. The officer spoke with the security officer, James Curry, who stated that the defendant didn't patronize the business. However, so she was asked to leave, which, however, she refused. There was a previous, as we just heard, there was a previous warning given to Ms. Harris on October 30th, 2023. That was ultimately NOD'd. Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a stay away from that location, and a no further contact with that security officer, James Curry. Traditional spelling.
Mr. Curry's on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. If okay with you, Ms. Adams, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Mr. Curry. Stay away from the Starbucks on Marietta Street. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. I believe I've been informed that this is the same location from that previous criminal trespass. So let's make sure, Ms. Henry, that you don't go back there. If you go back there, then you're going to be in violation of my bond order, which I wouldn't take too kindly to. So don't go back there, okay?
Understood, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Good luck to you, Ms. Henry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position 13, Ms. Mann.
Good afternoon, Ms. Mann. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Mann, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006860E with battery family violence. Is there a history?
Fourth arrest, 2015 failure to appear, 2012 burglary, possession of tools for the commission of a crime, criminal damage to property, obstruction, first offender, and a 2011 theft by shoplifting NOLO. She's recommended.
Your Honor,
Mr. Kenny Thomas?
the facts of the case is that on October 31st, 2023, the officer responded to that incident location being 2524 MLK Jr. Drive, Southwest Atlanta in Fulton County, Georgia, in reference to a domestic dispute. Upon arrival, the officer made contact with the caller, who was actually the defendant. The defendant advised that her ex-boyfriend, Andre Gibson, and her roommate, the victim in this case, jumped on her. The defendant stated that Mr. Gibson pulled her hair and hit her in the face with a firearm. The defendant also stated that the defendant kicked her. That the victim and Mr. Gibson kicked her in the stomach. The defendant stated that the altercation escalated and she asked the victim for rent money. The defendant stated that during the altercation, her daughter, the juvenile BM, was also attacked by the victim. Officers noticed a small laceration on the defendant's lip and a small bruise on her chin. Andre and the victim were later found sitting in the vehicle in the parking lot. Andre stated that he and the victim were in the car getting ready to leave from the location. He stated that the defendant came outside and attacked the victim from the driver's seat. Andre stated that he was able to separate the defendant and the victim. He also stated that he went inside to retrieve his belongings. He stated that while he was in the process of getting his belongings, he and the defendant got into a verbal dispute. He stated that the defendant assumed that him and the victim were sleeping together. He stated that the victim advised the defendant got mad because she did not give her the rent money. The victim also stated that when she was outside in the car with Andre, the defendant approached the vehicle from the driver's side and began to attack her. The victim stated that Andre split the two of them up and went inside and got his belongings. Officers observed bruises to the victim's forehead and a small laceration below her cheek. The officer was able to review a video camera footage from the leasing office, which they were able to observe the victim and Andre sitting in the vehicle when the defendant approached the vehicle and attacked the victim. Officers were not able to locate a firearm on the scene, Your Honor. The recommendation from the state is a $2,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim in this case. The particular victim in this case is Brittany Jackson, traditional spelling Brittany Jackson, and a stay away from the incident location, that incident location being 2524 MLK Jr. Drive, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. And if at this time we can sound for the victim, as our office was able to get in contact with her, and I believe she is on the call.
But I apologize for interrupting. However, this is actually a conflict case, and we don't have a conflict attorney. I apologize for that.
Okay. Ms. Mann, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. It is, unfortunately, this is a conflict case, and we do not have a conflict attorney to represent you today. As such, if you would like for me to reschedule this until tomorrow, when you can have a lawyer present to represent you, I'm happy to do that. If you would like to proceed pro se, that means without the advice of counsel, I would be happy to do that too. It appears from what I've heard thus far that I will be granting you a signature bond. So if that were the case, that you would be able to get out of custody today. But it's up to you whether or not you want to go forward today or not. What would you like to do?
I would like to go forward, but the address that you're stating is my address, it's my home. So I can't stay away from my home.
That is correct, Your Honor. We'll retract the stay away. I believe the victim moved out.
Okay, so Ms. Brittany Jackson, if I see that you're on the line, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. If you would like to address the court, you'll have to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. Okay, Ms. Jackson, given that I have not that you have not followed any of the instructions, I will take it that you do not wish to address the court, which is fine. So, Ms. Mann, it will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Brittany Jackson, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay.
Okay.
I'm allowing you to sign your own bond, Ms. Mann, but you're gonna have to make sure to come back to answer for the charges at your next court date, okay?
Okay, no problem.
All right, good luck to you, Ms. Mann.
Thank
All
you, Your
right,
Honor.
thank
May
you.
we be excused?
Yes, have a good weekend. Thank you.
This is gonna be position 3, table. Oh, Cabell.
Cabell, good afternoon, Ms. Cabell. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Cabell, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006853G with theft by taking. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest, 2022 criminal damage to property out of Clayton County. That appears to be open. 2019 ag assault, possession of a firearm during a commission. That was no bill. That's all.
Afternoon, Ms. Falk.
Afternoon, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you are as well.
Thank you. So this incident happened yesterday at the Kroger at 725 Ponce de Leon Avenue. Officer Davis was dispatched to that location in a reference to an employee stealing out of the register. Ms. Cabell, who the defendant was at Kroger and was seen stealing out of the cash register for the last 2 days, beginning on the 1st and ending on the 2nd. She stole a total of $1,442. State's recommendation is SOB through pretrial, stay away from Kroger, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Okay, Ms. Abden, I will have this go through the jail, and she's to stay away from that Kroger. Is that satisfactory with you?
Yes, Your Honor. And if I could just let her know, a social worker will contact you. I let them know already.
Okay.
Thank you,
So
Your
it'll
Honor.
be $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Kroger on Ponce de Leon Avenue. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. There will also be a social worker visit, is my understanding. Good luck to you, Ms. Cabell.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Judge, what was the bond amount?
$2,000 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you. Position 18. Come on, Mr. Watts. Position 18, Watts.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Watts. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Watts, you've been charged in case number 23CR006865Y with reckless driving. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
19. Last arrest was in March. Possession of a firearm by convicted felon. Possession of a firearm during the commission and sale of marijuana. On probation, participation in street gang activity. Possession of marijuana with intent. What else? We got a 2015 ag assault that was dismissed. 2015 probation. And he got weapon offenses. And he got an open CP case. He went to felony earlier. I don't know what the bond was. I can go and ask. That's it.
Okay.
Your Honor, very brief facts of the case. The defendant there was a traffic stop conducted and the defendant admitted to driving double the speed limit. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Watts, is 34 years old. We would like to request for a signature bond through jail. This is driving offense. And Your Honor, he has a bigger fish to fry at felony court. He is working as a personal trainer. He's been doing that for about 1.5 years last year. And also he completed up to 10th grade in the education. Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond through jail for this one. Thank you.
$2,000 signature bond through the jail, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Watts.
Sorry, but you were going in and out when you said the bond amount.
$2,000 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you.
Judge, that was 3,000 or 2?
2.
Thank you.
Position 14, Miles.
Good afternoon, Mr. Miles. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Miles, you've been charged in case 23CR006861A with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
29 total. Last was 2021. Simple battery DV, cruelty the third. I think they upgraded to a felony because the case number is 21CP205418. 2018 probation violation. That's all. I don't know why I didn't go further. I'm gonna defer to the state with the rest of the history, but that's all I got.
Okay, I've got down here that there's a pending simple battery family violence and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree in Fulton County.
Yeah, that's in Superior Court. 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct,
Thanks.
Your Honor. And he's out on a $7,000 surety bond on that. And I just want to make the court aware that essentially the warrants in that particular case, it says simple battery, but the warrant clearly makes out battery family violence. Also, it's the same victim as this case, Ms. Phyllis Smith, which is the same victim as the 2019 case that was dismissed for simple battery family violence. But essentially the facts of this case, Your Honor, is it looks like on May 20th, 2023, the officer was dispatched to the incident location, that incident location being 2328 Country Club Drive, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, for a fight in progress call of service. The officer spoke with the victim, Ms. Phyllis Smith, who advised that the father of her child and her current boyfriend, the defendant, and her had gotten into a physical altercation. She advised that while she was speaking to the defendant, they started arguing and the defendant punched her in the face. The officer observed the victim having visibly bleeding from a scratch and with a swollen eye. The victim later called the precinct and stated that her nose was broken in 3 separate places, as well as she had a chipped tooth. And this occurred during the altercation. I believe our office is in the process of having this being reviewed for felony review. But the recommendation from the state is a $7,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim in this case. If we can sound for her at the appropriate time in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated. A stay away from the incident location, that incident location again being 2328 Country Club Drive, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, and the completion of a family violence intervention program.
Mr. Pierre Thomas, do you have the bond conditions on that previous family violence matter?
Yes, it was $7,000. If you're referring to the one with the CP number, Your Honor. It looks
Yes,
like
I want the conditions. Was there
sorry.
a stay away? Was there a stay away in place and a no further contact?
One moment, Your Honor.
Okay, if you'll get that, I'll go on to Ms. Kim. Ms. Kim? You're on mute, Ms. Kim.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, we have no objection to stay away. Except stay away from, we don't have any objection to have no further contact with Phyllis Smith, as long as he can return home. 2328 Country Club Drive is actually my client's place, and they do not live together, Your Honor. And my client, he says that he was actually never even, this never even happened. On May 20, 2023, this is his place, and she was not there, and he does not understand why this false accusation was even brought up. Your Honor, he has been here in Georgia all his life. He's gainfully employed as a gutter cleaner, and also, Your Honor, he worked at Nations Supply before this job, and also he graduated from high school. They share one child, a 4-year-old son, and other than that, we would like to request for third-party transfer for that child, and we will request for maximum $1,000 good bond. Thank you.
I'm sorry, and I hate to butt in. PD Kim, what is the name of the child?
It does not, I didn't put the name of the child, but there was one child, 4 years old, son.
Right, I need the name because that is actually very pertinent to his current order.
Can I ask initials to my client? Mr. Miles, would you give me your initials for your child?
Yeah, R in the M third.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Me too.
I think he said Robert Miles III.
Yeah.
Okay, so Your Honor, he has a stay away from Phyllis Smith, Emmanuel Mahone, Robert Miles Jr., and Sakira Mahone, and a stay away from 177 Richmond 770 Richmond Circle, and that was from his 21 CP case.
Okay.
I'm guessing that the Robert Miles Jr. would be the third we're referring to, and maybe not a separate child, but he has a stay away from basically the entire family that he is now violated with this case.
Okay. And the Country Club Drive address, do we know whose address that is? And
that is my client's address, Your Honor. Mr. Miles' address, and Miss Smith does not reside there.
okay. Is that your understanding, Mr. Pierre Thomas?
That was not my understanding. Let me reread something, but that was not my understanding, Your Honor. Understanding was that they reside together.
Okay, well, what I'm going to do is that he can go back to Country Club Drive address as long as Miss Smith is not there. So, Mr. Miles, there's a previous order that you're not to have any contact whatsoever with Phyllis Smith. And as such would be in violation of that bond order if you had any contact with her. As such, for this bond, it will be a $5,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Smith. You can go back to the Country Club Drive address on one occasion with law enforcement to make sure that Ms. Smith is not at that address. If she is there, you have to retrieve your belongings and find another place to reside. If she is not there, then of course you can stay there. third-party transfer of any other minor children that are not listed on a previous stay away. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Your Honor, the incident report does list the Richmond Circle as her address and the
Okay.
country club as his.
Okay, so he can go back to the Country Club Drive address, given that that is his address. He does not need a one-time escort.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Miles.
You got a 5 copy.
Excuse me, Judge, can I please get his address? I mean, the young lady's address, the victim?
770 Richmond Circle is what I believe it to be.
Judge, you said a good bond, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. You got a $5,000. Okay. Position 15, Patrick.
Good afternoon, Mr. Patrick. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that's conducted by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Was that a yes? I'm sorry, Mr. Patrick. Is that a yes? Okay, thank you, sir. You've been charged in case 23 CR 006862E with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
15 total. Last was 2019, suspended license, suspended registration. 2013, simple battery dismissed. 2010, hindering 911 call conviction. Recommended.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on October 2nd, 2023, the officer was flagged down on a domestic violence call at the incident location, that incident location being 523 Harper Road, Southeast Atlanta, Georgia 30315. The officer initially responded to this location for a larceny from auto call. The victim then advised the officer that she did not call about the vehicle break-in. However, she did wish to speak to the officer about her boyfriend pushing her off the bed, causing her to have a cut on her face. The victim stated that she came home the previous night from drinking with her coworkers, and she was in the bed that she shares with her boyfriend, the defendant. The victim advised that her notification went off around 4:40 a.m. and she woke up and got out of the bed to check the phone. The victim stated that the defendant then said, "Oh, you think you're slick, and that's why you can't go out drinking." The victim attempted to get back into the bed after checking her notification, and the defendant pushed her off the bed. The victim advised that at the time she did not feel her face hitting an object, but when she woke up at 8 a.m., she saw a mark on her right side, on the right side of her cheek. The victim advised that she did not call the police at the time. The officer did observe a visible mark on the right side of the victim's face, which was located close to her right eye. In the nose area. The victim advised that they had been together for 13 years and that the defendant has been living at the incident location for 6 years. The victim also advised the defendant had physically put his hands on her at least 3 times prior to the incident. None of them were reported. The victim requested to press charges. Our office was able to get in contact with the victim. She confirmed that they are in a relationship. They live together at the incident location. She stated that they share no kids. She confirmed the incident in the warrant as stated. She stated that, however, this is not the first time the defendant has been violent with her, but this is the first time that the police has gotten involved. She stated that she does not want the defendant to return back to the residence and that he will need a one-time law enforcement escort to retrieve his belongings. I do believe that she is on the call, so if we could sound for Miss Phyllis Wilson at the appropriate time, that'd be greatly appreciated, Your Honor. But the recommendation from the state is a $4,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, a stay away from that incident location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program.
If Ms. Phyllis Wilson is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I see you there, Ms. Wilson. If you would like to address the court, you're welcome to. You do not have to. Yes, can you raise your right hand for me, ma'am? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
No, I just want to make sure that he does not come back to this residence.
Okay. Anything further, ma'am?
That's it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, we have no objection to stay away and no further contact. Indeed, my client, Mr. Patrick, is planning to move out from that location, so it is completely okay with us, Your Honor. He is recommended, so we would like to request for a signature on bond. He is gainfully employed. He is a maintenance personnel for 2 apartment complexes, and also he graduated from high school. And even though he works really hard full-time, because he has to take care of 12 years old minor child, he is still qualified for public defender services, Your Honor. Having bond at this point will be very challenging. This happened about a month ago, Your Honor. And indeed, please note that it was Miss Phyllis Wilson who was drunken. My client denies the allegation. He does not remember anything about this, and he feels like he's falsely accused. Thanks, Your Honor.
Okay, it will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Wilson, stay away from the Harbor Road address. He can go back to that address on 1 occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay, good luck to you, Mr. Patrick.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
16, Robinson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Robinson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. Mr. Robinson, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006863D with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No, I got jail as the recommendation.
Okay. Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Your Honor, the brief facts of the case is the officer observed the defendant gain access to an unauthorized stairwell at MARTA Peachtree Station that was authorized for emergencies only. Mr. Robinson did not have the proper authority to access the area. The defendant was sleeping on a cardboard box with his personal belongings. That MARTA location is 216 Peachtree Street, Atlanta. The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away from that MARTA station, which is the Peachtree Center station.
Ms. Kim, does he need some help with housing?
Yes, he does.
Okay, so if you will have a social worker visit so that we can assist Mr. Robinson with housing, it will be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. I'll have him abide by any active MARTA suspensions and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank
Good
you.
luck to you, Mr. Robinson.
Judge, I'm sorry, I stepped away. What's the bond amount?
$1,000 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you.
Okay.
Position 17, Watley.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wadley. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 006864J with battery, family violence, and battery against a female who is pregnant. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest, 2019 theft by receiver.
Your Honor, brief facts of Mr. Howard, you done?
Yeah, I'm done. Oh, he was recommended. But yeah, I'm done now.
My bad. Yeah, the brief facts of the case is that on May 22nd, 2023, officer was dispatched to the incident location, that incident location being 1009 Lawton Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, and Fulton County, Georgia, on a person injured from an assault call. The victim stated that herself and her boyfriend, the defendant, had been living in the residence together for approximately 4 months. She stated that an unknown female called her personal cell phone, and she found out that Watley had been having relations outside of the relationship. She stated that the defendant had an unknown female pregnant. The victim stated that they both began to verbally argue inside the bedroom that they share. The victim advised that she is 4 months pregnant, and she was 4 months pregnant at the time of the incident. She stated that during the verbal dispute, the defendant unprovokedly started to strike her and kick her with several closed fists and his foot kicks to her body. She stated that she was punched in the face and stomach area aggressively. The victim stated that the defendant then grabbed her by her braids and threw her around the bedroom. The victim stated that she ran away to another room from the assault and started feeling heavy pain in her pregnant stomach after having previously miscarried. I'm sorry, in her pregnant stomach, possibly miscarrying, sorry. The officer observed visible injuries and swelling and dark bruising to the right side of her cheek and her eye. The victim stated that she started bleeding heavily in her groin area and had to change her pants. Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is a $10,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim. The victim in this case being Arion, Aureon, Freeman, traditional spelling, Freeman. Stay away from that incident location and the completion of a family violence intervention program. And if we can sound for the victim, Ms. Freeman, in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be appreciated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Is this Miss Freeman?
No, this is his older brother, but Miss Freeman is currently at the jail.
I'm here, EB.
Okay. I just want to say
Okay,
that.
hold on, sir. I'll get to you in a moment. So,
All right, sir. All right.
and I'll need for you to activate your camera. And is this Miss Freeman?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to speak to me, Miss Freeman?
Yes.
Okay. So raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. You can put your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
This was a case from back in, I want to say May, where I asked the officer to not file charges due to the fact of it being I don't have any family members down here, and that case was just a verbal disagreement, nothing physical. So when I had got down there to the hospital, it was no need for the charges to be filed. I stated that several times with the first two officers that came to the house and with the officer that was in the room with me while I was being examined.
Okay. Have you since had your child, Miss Freeman?
Yes, I had her about 8 days ago.
Okay, congratulations, ma'am. Let's see, have you and Mr. Wadley been together since May?
Yes, we've been together for the last 4 years.
And has this ever happened before or after?
No.
Are you afraid of him?
No, sir, I'm not.
Do you want him back in the household?
I actually need him back in the household due to our certain circumstances right now. So he's my only source of income by me being on maternity leave. Like I said, I just had her 8 days ago. So there's literally no way for me to return back to work or anything like that.
Okay, well, I'm more concerned about your safety, Ms. Wadley. I understand that you have some financial obligations and things, but I want to make sure that you and your child are going to be safe. And you're telling me that there's not been any further problems since that date in May. Is that right?
Yes, no, sir, no problems.
Okay, all right. Anything further, ma'am?
No, sir.
Okay, now, who do I have on the Samsung?
This is
Um,
Eric. This is Eric Watley, his older brother.
Okay, Mr. Watley, do you want to tell me something? If you do, I'm going to have you raise your right hand and be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down, sir. What would you like to tell the court?
Now I just want to say they are two good young adults. You know, they're trying to figure life out. Everybody has, you know, their hiccups and things of that nature. I talk to them both and you know, wish them the best, regardless of that being my brother. I don't take sides. And I love him to death, love her to death, and my new niece. I just want them to come together and just, you know, coexist like they've been doing all these years. Even if I have to get my brother and move him here with me in my second bedroom apartment, I know he's a provider. She's a go-getter. She handled her business. And I just want them to be together, get along, and him don't have any more stipulations already as a young man in life. It's already hard enough. And I just pray that he's able to either get a reasonable bond where I can pay it, something I could afford. Because we don't have our parents. My father's passed. My mother is literally like sick to death from a heart attack, and we don't have nobody. All we have is each other, and I don't want to lose my brother or her or my niece due to, you know, their personal stipulations. You know, and I just pray they both just grow up and get it together and realize that all y'all got is each other and God, and just, you know, move forward.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Watley. Do you have something, Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Yes, I just want to ask Ms. Freeman, have there been any incidences between the two of you since February, I mean, since May of this year?
no, I left the house during that time, and then I had just moved back. I want to say 3 weeks ago. Upon me coming back into the house, I had to go right into the emergency room to go into labor.
Have there
So
been
I'm
any, oh, go
fresh
ahead,
out.
I'm sorry. Have there been any other situations where the police had to get involved?
No, sir.
Okay, so the police weren't called for an altercation last night?
They were called for a verbal altercation last night, and upon that, I was trying to get my baby to leave. I told them that I did not want any charges pressed because it was no physical dispute between us. I did not feel like my life was in danger. I just wanted to take her and leave for the night.
And so
He was
just to be clear, y'all got into an altercation last night
No, it was a verbal disagreement about the baby last night.
and the police had to get involved?
No, the police came afterwards, and that's when he was arrested.
Okay, nothing
Did
further.
you call did you call the police?
I called the police on my behalf to come and get my child so that we both could leave the premises. I couldn't leave the premises without her because I was breastfeeding at the time.
Okay.
So there would be no type of food source for her if I was to leave. So I had to call the police so that I could get her.
And why is it that you weren't able to get her?
I wasn't able to get her because I couldn't get inside of the room. He had called and had the code changed to the room.
Your Honor,
Room and house.
I apologize, but I really want to object to this because we are only here for May 22, 2023 incident. I think it's irrelevant for anything else.
Your Honor, it's absolutely relevant. The state's position is because the question is whether or not they should continue to have contact, whether or not there is a danger to the witness or to the victim in this situation. And I think any sort of subsequent activities or communication between the two that is specifically violent or, communication or communications where police had to get involved is absolutely relevant to bond in this matter.
But has been no physical altercations besides that one in May, and it wasn't physical to the point where I was assaulted or physically assaulted in any type of way. There was no proof, there was no pictures, there was no report written or anything. I even sat there and told them over the phone and verbally in their face that there was no reason for any charges to be filed against him. So last night.
It doesn't matter whether or not it was physical. It sounds like anytime you call the police, in my estimation, you're in a situation where you can't handle it yourself. You've got a minor child, a very, very minor child there. Your first and Mr. Wadley's first concern should be that child. And you telling me that you had to call the police because you did not have access to your child because you were locked out, presumably by Mr. Wadley. That gives pause to this to the court. It also gives pause to the court, given that you told me that initially you said there hadn't been any altercations, but I didn't realize that there hadn't been any altercations because you all had not been around one another. And now that you have been around one another for the past 8 days or so, as you've said, you've already had to call the police again.
No, sir. I've been back for the last 3 weeks. I called the police last night.
Okay, well, 3 weeks is still a very short period of time of being back together to be calling the police.
No, we've been together this whole time. I left the house physically to go to Nashville for my family. It was no reason for me to leave the house outside of that. I came back down here once.
You're missing my point, Miss Freeman. My point is that you had not been around one another. You've not been in town. And soon as you get back in town within 3 weeks, you're calling the police again. That's of concern to this court. Mr. Eric, I'm sorry, is it Eric Wadley?
Yes. Yep.
Mr. Wadley, you said that your brother could live with you. Where do you live?
I live on the south side of Atlanta,
so you live in the general area.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I live towards the airport.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So in the East Point, Hapeville, College Park area?
Yep, Hapeville.
Okay. All right. So thank you, sir. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Waldley, is 24 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. He's gainfully employed at Georgia Aquarium, and he does catering work. He's been doing that for the last 4 years, and he graduated from high school. And Your Honor, he's not going to be qualified for public defender services. And we would like to request for no further violent contact, as mother of child also wants it. And there was, we are only here for May 22nd, 2023 incident, and we would like to focus on that only. We would like to request for signature on bond. He's recommended, and indeed through the jail or pretrial service. That's it, Your Honor. Thanks.
And Your Honor, if I could just point out that the call for service that was yesterday, November 2nd, was in reference to a dispute with a weapon.
Okay.
May I say something just to that right fast? When the police came, they actually searched the house. There was no prior evidence or anything like that for a weapon to be in the room or anything like that. We do not have any weapons. Yes, he has purchased one and he is licensed for that, but he does not keep that in the household.
Okay. Mr. Eric Wadley.
It's better to be quiet.
We can hear you, Kasha. Mr. Eric Wadley. Can you hear me, Mr. Wadley?
Hear you. I can hear you, sir. I can hear you.
Okay, you were on mute. Since you have offered to have your brother stay with you, I would like for him to have that as his residence, at least for the meantime. I'm going to give him a signature bond, so on each count, so you don't have to worry about coming out of your pocket to bond him out. It will be a $2,000 signature bond on each charge, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Okay.
One day anger awareness. No further violent contact with Miss Ariane Freeman. but I am going to keep him away from staying with Freeman. So he needs to stay away from the 1009 Lawton Drive address. He can
Okay.
go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there.
Gotcha.
I will have him at the present time live with Mr. Eric Wadley, his brother, per Mr. Eric Wadley's recommendation to the court, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. So I'm not going to keep you away from your child. I'm not going to keep you away from Miss Freeman, but I am going to keep you all physically away as far as living together at the present time. Okay.
And Your Honor, if I could just put on the record that the state would object to the signature bond and the no further violent contact, given the facts of the case.
Okay. So noted. All right. If nothing further, good luck to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, can we do position number 9, Mr. Sean Harvey in medical?
Yes, we can.
And Your Honor, I had Derek Howard go see him. I'm waiting for him to respond what we should do. And I requested a breakout room. So if we can just hold on that one.
Okay.
A little bit.
Miss Abden has requested for inmate
Derek,
reason.
yeah, Howard already spoke to him. He said to put him on. He said he didn't know why.
I understand he didn't see my email at the time. And so if we could just please hold, I would appreciate it.
Okay. Would you all like for us to go into a breakout room right now to handle these MH cases, or do you want me to?
Yes, please, Judge. Yes, if that's possible,
Okay.
because
Yeah,
Officer Norris has to leave.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I'm about to leave now. If they put him to the end, they can put him to the end. One of you guys got to come up here. I got to go.
Okay, are you going to have to go before we go in? Do we have enough time to go into a breakout room and come back out, Officer Norris, or you want to put him?
Your Honor, I think you should just go to another case and put him to the back end.
Okay, I'll do that then. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too.
Thank you. Okay, so who do we have next?
Position 4, Cortez.
And sorry, Francois, is there any way that we can do Miss PD Kim's cases just so I can speak with Mr. Howard real quick?
Yeah, I'm doing this is for Miss Kim's now. This is
perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so this is Mr. Cortez Vasquez.
Yes, it is, Judge.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yeah.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 006854H with criminal trespass and damage to property and simple assault family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
5th arrest, 2019 driving without a valid license conviction, 2016 battery DV, cruelty to children, that was dismissed, and a 2015 driving without a valid license conviction. That's it.
Ms. Falk?
Mr. Howard, the defendant currently went to first appearance on an aggravated assault charge. Would you be so kind as to find out if the defendant received a bond on that case today?
For you, sure.
Thank you. So, Your Honor, this incident happened on the 1st of November, 2023 at 5501 Glenridge Drive, Sandy Springs. Officers spoke with Miss Navarrete, who stated that the defendant, his mother, Anna Navarrete, stated that the defendant suffered from some alcohol abuse issues, becomes destructive when he becomes intoxicated, began acting violently towards her, threw a beer bottle against the wall of the apartment, which damaged the apartment wall, and attempted to strike her. According to another family member on the scene, the defendant had to be restrained to prevent him from striking Miss Navarrete. I will point out that the incident for which the defendant was also arrested for in our case stems from a January 4th, 2022 aggravated assault strangulation, which involved Miss, and let me just make sure, it says Anna Navarrete Teresa, and did involve trying to strangle her, as well as a count of, let's see, there was the aggravated assault strangulation, as well as another count of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. In that case, she said he strangled her and she was unable to breathe. I will point out that when it says the mother, I think it got a little confused. Miss Navarrete is living with the defendant and is the mother of his children. So I think it was a little bit confusing the way the warrant stated the mother. We are unaware of the offense from 2016, who the victim is on that case. However, we are asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no contact with Anna Navarrete, stay away from 5501 Glenridge Drive, Sandy Springs, ADET, and we are asking for FVIP as well, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And we would like to sound for Miss Navarrete.
It appears that it was a $25,000 surety bond, Ms. Falk.
All right.
And if Ms. Anna Navarrete is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Okay. Yes, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Cortez, is 36 years old, and Your Honor, they have total of 4 children, and 3 of them are his children, actually. They are minors, 12, 10, 8 years old. Your Honor, he is a sole provider for the family. He is gainfully employed at Equa Fresh. It's a company for cleaning air ducts. He's been working there, and his income has not been stable lately. So his electricity bill is not paid because of financial struggles that he's going through. And he completed up to 10th grade, Your Honor. We would like to request for a signature on bond as he is recommended, Your Honor, by pretrial service. We believe that he has a bigger fish to fry, of course, from 23 CP 223121. There was a $25,000 good bond. So I don't think that he has $2,500 as of now. So he's still going to be here in Georgia. I mean, in jail. He's not going anywhere. So for these charges, criminal trespass charges, we would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial. Thank you.
And Your Honor, if I may, I went back and I was actually able to find the 2016 case that was accused in 2017. It was null pros subsequently, but it also involved Anna Navarrete. So now we have an incident in 2016 involving her, an incident in 2022 involving her that involved aggravated assault strangulation, and now this incident where people had to intervene to make sure he did not physically attack her. I think that is literally the entirety of his history. Quite frankly, I'm amazed that he is recommended for pretrial. But the history is such that we do have some serious concerns about a risk of reoffense and safety of our victim.
I'm going to accept the state's recommendation. It will be a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Ms. Navarrete. Stay away from the 5501 Glenridge Drive address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. Third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Cortez Vasquez. And the breakdown, yeah, I can't. I just remembered to do that. $1,000 for the criminal trespass, a $2,000 for the simple assault. Sorry about that, Ms. Grace. And just let me say to everyone, I didn't announce it earlier. Ms. Grace has told me that the SAP reset date is November 16th. Okay, who do we have next?
And Your Honor, before we proceed, I just have an announcement. I previously requested a breakout room for Harvey and Brown. Those two will not need a breakout room, and Brown is going to be a waiver. So is Johnson.
Okay, so the only one that we will need physically is position number 9, Harvey.
Correct.
Okay, and then tell me again, and will you need a breakout for Harvey?
No.
Okay, so we don't need any breakouts and we'll have 2 waivers. Yes?
Yeah, we just need a breakout for Johnson, I believe.
Oh, okay,
That's
so you
all.
want, even though, okay, so you want to break out for Johnson, but he's
Well,
waiving
I
his-
guess, never mind, sorry. We don't need a breakout. Those 2 are waivers, and we do need Harvey in person. I apologize.
You're fine, Ms. Hampton. Okay, did you get all that, Francois?
I know of that, yes, position 12, and then who was the other waiver?
Position 2.
It's gonna be Brown. I'm gonna send the waiver right now.
Okay, because I have him as a reset. Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Thank you.
This is position 8, Hardman.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Hardman. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Hardman, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006855J with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
4th arrest, 2020 obstruction out of Paulding County, not prosecuted. 2018 serious injury by vehicle, reckless driving, DUI conviction. 2016 DUI. Please recommend.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This happened yesterday at 600 Garson Drive, Northeast, apartment 8102 in Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Charles Burkett stated that the defendant has a drinking problem and stated the defendant had too much to drink, became angry, and threw a metal Yeti bottle at him, striking him in the head, causing a laceration to the top of his head. I'm not sure if you've ever handled a Yeti bottle, but it's pretty substantial. Mr. Burkett then stated he called 911 to document the incident because he wanted to get the defendant help. He stated that the defendant denied striking Mr. Burkett in the head, and there was a blue metal Yeti bottle at the location, and officers did observe that Mr. Burkett had a large laceration to the top of his head where he was bleeding. The defendant also advised that he does have some alcohol issues as well. We had an opportunity to speak with the victim in this case, Mr. Burkett. He stated he and the defendant are best friends and roommates. He confirmed the events of the warrant. He said he is terrified of the defendant when he drinks, and that this has been going on for weeks with the defendant drinking and becoming violent. He states he fears that if the defendant returns, he will be violent again. He does not feel safe. And he stated he's okay with phone contact, but doesn't wish to have any physical contact. He also stated he would like the defendant to stay away from the residence, and the defendant will need a one-time law enforcement escort. To that end, the state is asking for a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Charles Burkett, stay away from 600 Garson Drive Northeast, apartment 8102. We are asking for an ADET, given the previous history that it does involve DUI and serious injury by vehicle, which does show there is a history of alcohol abuse here. We're asking for anger awareness and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Mr. Burkett is here on the line, and we would like to ask him if he would like to speak at this time.
Mr. Burkett, if you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, yeah. What would you like to tell the court, sir?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to mention, so obviously we're roommates. Jason is my longest and one of my best friends. It was a very difficult situation, but until I believe he needs in-house treatment and eventually a rollover afterwards to sober living as opposed to our roommate situation, until he gets such treatment, I would not feel comfortable alone with him. After such treatment and in the process of going to sober living, if that's what happens, and only in that scenario would I feel comfortable again working with him to get him to out of the house to sober living. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Burkett. We appreciate you being here this afternoon. Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. So my client's 47 years old. He does struggle with substance abuse. He has for some time. Prior to this incident, he was 2.5 years sober, and was heavily involved in the sober community. He was participating in AA home group and attended AA at least 3 times a week. He was working as a paralegal, and he was laid off 2 months ago, Your Honor, and this was his long-term employment, and so he did relapse. He does acknowledge that he has a problem with substance abuse, and he is already has a plan on what he's going to do if he does get out of jail today. And so he tells me that he's already connected with Iris Recovery, and they have a bed for him. So if a stay away is required, he would be able to abide by that, so long as he has a one-time law enforcement escort. And then he's planning on doing a 30-day treatment. He provided 2 different recovery facilities, and then he's going to go back to sober living. So that is his plan. And no further contact for the time being would be fine if Your Honor is inclined. And he does have very strong ties to the community. He's lived in Georgia his whole life. He does have a lot of family here. And Your Honor, I'm requesting that you allow him to get out of jail so he can get the help that he needs. This is not somebody who needs to remain in jail. He just needs to get some help, as you've heard. And so I am requesting a signature bond, and that is all for now.
Okay, it is going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. I am going to require that if he goes to Iris Recovery, if my understanding it's an inpatient treatment, if he goes there, then that's fine. If he does not go there, I am going to require 3 AA meetings per week. So if he's in Iris Recovery, then when he gets out, he'll have to start that 3 times a week AA. But if he's in, then he does not have to do it then. But once he gets out, he's going to have to go to AA 3 times a week. No further contact at this point in time with Mr. Charles Burkett. Stay away from the Garson Drive address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hartman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. My only concern about the pretrial bond is if he does go into a 30-day treatment facility, would that excuse him from reporting for that month? I'm not familiar with how it works.
If he's in treatment, Mr. Howard, can he report by phone?
Yes, just put it on the bond order.
Okay, so if he's in treatment, then I'll have him report by phone. When he's not in treatment, then he'll have to do regular, and he'll have to do those AA classes. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, good. And thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Burkett. Okay. Who do we have next?
Position 7, Gunnels Johnson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gunnels Johnson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 006867A with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
It's 10th arrest. Last arrest was last year. Probation out of the cab. Appears to have an open ag assault, family violence, battery DV case in the cab. On probation for battery DV, disorderly conduct. They gave him 24 months for that. And a 2015 burglary, 2019 probation. That's it.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened yesterday at 1860 Beecher Road Southwest. Miss Kalia Gunnels stated she was involved in a physical altercation with the defendant. She stated that during the dispute, the defendant struck her several times with an open hand and a closed hand, and also with objects in the house, which caused multiple injuries to her arms and face. They are legally married, live together, and are expecting their first child together. We will point out that the incident in 2022, where it is an open case, aggravated assault, family violence, battery, does involve a different victim. And he is currently on probation in 2023 for family violence, battery out of DeKalb County. So we do have some serious concerns, being that in 2 years, he's had 2 separate arrests, 1 conviction for family violence battery, and this is a new case. For that reason, the state is asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with Kalia Ganels, stay away from 1860 Beecher Road Southwest, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We are also requesting the FVIP program, and we would like to sound for Ms. Ganels.
If Ms. Kalia Ganels is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Has either the state or Ms. Abden been in touch with Ms. Kalia Ganels?
Your Honor, we did leave a message and send a text. However, we have not received a response at this time.
Okay.
Your Honor, it's my understanding that her phone is off. Something's going on with her phone, so I was not able to contact her either.
Okay, thank you. You can proceed, Ms. Abden.
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 25 years old. He was born in Georgia, has lived here his whole life. He graduated from high school. He was gainfully employed. He was doing mobile detailing. Because he's been arrested, he hasn't been at work, and he wasn't able to notify them either because the police didn't give him an opportunity to get numbers out of his phone. And so he is concerned that he does not have a job when he gets out. And so his indigency is a concern, Your Honor. He is only working part-time. And so even if he did have this job, he would still qualify for public defender services. He's also, he is working part-time because he's already got a plan in place to get his CDL license and then get a different job. It's my understanding, Your Honor, that the incident allegedly occurred the night before the arrest, and that the police came later that morning for a welfare check. And it's my understanding that there was no physical altercation. My client does deny the allegations. He is, I understand the state's concern and the court's concern due to the recent battery family violence case out of DeKalb County. I spoke to him about that case. He's currently enrolled in an 18-week DV class for that case in DeKalb County. He's abiding by all of the conditions, and he's doing everything that he needs to be doing in that case, Your Honor. And so, you know, this is not his sentencing. These are just allegations at this time. And as I've stated, he does deny the allegations. And so I am requesting a signature bond, and that, you know, he does not object to no further contact and a stay away if that's necessary at this time. That is all.
It will be a $2,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Ganels, stay away from the Beecher Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
And Your Honor, sorry,
Yes.
the one-time law enforcement won't be necessary. They don't live in the same house. They have 2 different separate addresses.
Okay.
Thank
So just know, stay away from the Beecher Road address then. Thank you, Ms. Abden.
Thank you.
Hey, excuse me, quick announcement for, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I never heard of, first time being arrested in Fulton County, I never heard of the term good bond. Can you explain it?
It's a $2,000 cash bond. So I will call Olivia Williams and let her know.
Do that.
It's a surety bond. It's a surety bond, not a cash bond. Ms.
Sorry.
Oh, serious.
Okay.
Judge, quick announcement for position 9, Ms. Abden, you changed your mind, correct? That you did not want to do a breakout.
Number 9 is
That's
Harvey,
Mr. Harvey.
correct?
You said you did not need one, correct?
No, a breakout is not necessary. It's all good. Thank you.
We'll do position 9, Mr. Harvey.
Hi, Sean Harvey here.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Harvey. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Is it okay if we do your case by video?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you. Mr. Harvey, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006856G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, 20 total. Last arrest was last month. Henry County sale of marijuana, theft by receiver. It appears to be open.
Which the theft by receiving charge was dropped because there was a misunderstanding.
That's fine. DeKalb County, he got a CWAC charge. You know what the charge are, right? I put in a note.
Okay, I had them.
All right. 2010 probation, 2008 theft by deception conviction. That's all.
Yes, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. So this happened October 24th at 348 James P. Brawley Drive, Northwest in Atlanta. Mr. Harvey the defendant had sustained 2 gunshot wounds, one to his back, one to his left arm. They spoke with the son-in-law, Mr. Hassan Reed, along with 3 witnesses, Miss Tanisha Harvey, who is the defendant's wife, the defendant's son, Mr. Michael Bath Jr., and a neighbor, Mr. Bobby Lay. According to the witnesses, this was the second time today police had to respond to that location. The witnesses stated that the defendant was acting very aggressively toward Mrs. Harvey during the heated argument, and both Mr. Reed and his brother, Mr. Hassan Bath, tried to intervene by keeping their mother at a safe distance from the defendant. The argument then escalated. Mr. Harvey, the defendant, open hand slapped Miss Harvey in the face, causing swelling to her face as a result. And as a result of that, Mr. Hassan Reed, who is Miss Harvey's son, responded by shooting the defendant. I will say we did have an opportunity to speak with Mrs. Harvey. She stated that they are married, they do not live together, and they share 3 children. She has some MH concerns, and she stated she spoke to him as early as today, and she stated his frame of mind was disjointed during her conversation and believes that the MH issues are the cause of what is happening in the home. She also stated that he needs MH treatment. She wishes him to have an MHET, and this is not the first time he has been violent towards her. She says she's in fear of him, does not wish to have any contact with him, and she would like him to stay away from the residence. I would like to say that we did see the previous charges that are still outstanding in DeKalb. We do have concerns based on the fact that this resulted in somebody having to essentially use a firearm to protect their mother. We are asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact with Tanisha Harvey, Hassan Reed, Michael Bath, and Bobby Lay, who were all the witnesses and the victim in this case. Stay away from 348 James P. Brawley Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. We are requesting an MHET. We are also asking for FBIP and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. At this time, we would like to sound for Miss Tanisha Harvey if she is here in the courtroom. And I believe I see her on the Zoom. I don't know if she wishes to make a statement.
Ms. Harvey, if you would like to address the court, you certainly don't have to, but if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in.
And Your Honor, before she starts, I just want to object to any statements on the record about MH from the complaining witness.
Okay. I'm not sure if she wants to address the court as of yet. Ms. Harvey? Okay.
Your Honor, she unmuted and then muted. Ms. Harvey, if you could just tell me in the chat if you do wish to speak, and we can have you unmute and turn your video on.
Okay,
I'm having problems with the unmuting.
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm having problems with the video now.
Okay, there should be something at the bottom that says something to the effect of activate video, turn on video. Do you see anything at the bottom of your screen?
My screen just keep jumping.
Okay, was there something that you wanted to tell the court aside from the MH issues?
Yes, I just would like to state that
Okay, okay,
my
I can't have, I have to see you before I can talk to you. If you will go, I don't want you to address any MH issues, but if you have anything else that you like to tell the court, then I'm happy to wait until you can properly get before me. I need for you to figure out how to turn on your video and how to keep your sound on.
okay, I'm trying.
Okay.
And Your Honor, if I may, it may help if Miss Harvey goes out and comes back in. That may help. I know it's helped with the sound before. It may help with the video.
So Ms. Harvey, if you want to leave the session and join the session again to see if that helped with your video, and you'll possibly get an indication to turn on video when you try to come back into the session, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we'll wait for you, Ms. Harvey. Ms. Abden, would you like to address anything prior to Ms. Harvey coming back? I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah, I
can
think
wait.
maybe I'll just wait until she's done. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're fine, okay.
And Your Honor, once Miss Harvey comes back into the Zoom, I would say to allow her to speak as freely as possible about her concerns. I think it may be necessary for us to just go into a breakout.
Okay.
I normally ask, but I think I almost think it's gonna be impossible for her to talk about this in a robust way and express her needs without getting into that area.
Okay, I'm happy to go into a breakout.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'll just wait
Thank
for
you, Your
her to
Honor.
return.
So as I wait for that, is there someone in courtroom 2 that we can go ahead and take?
Yes, Judge, we have position number 6, Gibson.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Gibson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Gibson, you've been charged in case 23 CR 006866J with fraudulent attempt to obtain refunds and theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
19 total. Last arrest was last month and called possession of tools for the commission of a crime and shoplifting. It's open. Got something from Sacramento about false ID to police. 2019 grand theft, 2017 probation, burglary, battery, and a 2016 shoplifting, possession of tools. That's it.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This happened at the Hobby Lobby at 6380 North Point Parkway in Alpharetta. The defendant took several items from that location on October 24th, 2022, returned them for store credit without first purchasing them. After receiving a gift card, he then made more purchase. The defendant made more purchases using the gift card, and those items totaled $290.90. The defendant produced an identification document identifying himself as Mr. Jonathan Rocco Shively. And that information was then printed on the receipt of the gift card exchange. We are asking for a signature bond through pretrial services. Stay away from all Hobby Lobby stores. No further contact. Stay away from all Hobby Lobby stores and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And that's the state's only request.
Okay, Ms. Kim, if it's okay with you, I will, it'll be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail on each charge, which makes for a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from all Hobby Lobbies and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
Okay.
the only thing I would say in reference to that is the defendant's entire history is out of California. Normally, we would ask for a surety bond just because of the flight risk concerns. But I am asking for a pretrial services bond just to at least make sure he sees somebody between now and court.
Does he reside in Georgia, Ms. Kim?
Yes, he's been here for the last 4 years, Your Honor, and his cousins are here. He has a job here as a hairstylist. He does have a ties to the community, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gibson. Given the nature of the charges and that he does have contact, I'll have it go through the jail. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's see, Ms. Harvey, can you activate your camera now for me?
It's still doing the same thing. I'm not sure what is going on with the camera.
Do you have another device that you can get on?
Let me see.
Are you on a phone right now, or you're on a tablet?
I'm on an iPhone.
Okay, do you have another device that you might be able to join us on?
One moment. Let me see.
Who else do we have in courtroom 2? While she tries to get on, can we take up the waivers for positions number 2 and number 12?
Yes, Judge. We can do position 2, Mr. Brown. He waived his appearance.
Okay. What about position 11, Jennifer Hidalgo? What?
Release. She bonded out.
Okay, she was released.
Bonded.
Okay, so the only other ones that we have besides this one would be the waivers. Is that right?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, so let's while she still attempts to get on or get onto another device, let's go to position number 2, Rico Brown. What is his history?
He has 140.
40. Okay.
140.
Right, I've got it.
Okay. I assume you want me to stop there. I keep going. I'm just saying.
Unless Ms. Falk objects, I mean, I have it. I have.
Oh,
it
I don't
with-
object. I don't want to hear 140 cycles of anything.
Okay, all right. So this was a criminal trespass, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm going to be honest. I tried to recommend this one to Pat. I'm actually Pat unfortunately was unable to meet with him today, and so I don't want him to remain in custody because he's waiting on pad services. So this happened November 2nd, 2023 at 1075 Peachtree Street Northeast, PNC Bank location. Officers were called out to that location. The defendant had been trespassing. He had been previously trespassing on October 19th, 2023. And they stated he entered the building, proceeded behind a closed bagel shop, and demanded to purchase a bagel for $4. We're asking for a signature bond through the jail. And stay away from 1075 Peachtree Street Northeast, which is the PNC Bank office building. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And we would ask if it's possible for him to see a social worker before he's released. I know, I'm sure that probably has already happened in the past, but I don't think it would hurt to do it again.
Ms. Abden, can we get a social worker to visit him to help him with his? I take it that he has some issues with housing. Mr. Howard?
Here we go.
Good afternoon, Judge. I'm not a social worker, but I did see him today.
Okay.
So because of my familiarity with Mr. Brown, they took me up to 3 North, so I was able to talk with him. So I don't think there's any additional benefit that the social worker would bring to him today. So
Okay, okay.
yes.
So it'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail, stay away from the PNC on Peachtree Street, no drugs, alcohol, weapons. Okay, and then position number 12. Mr. Johnson with the obscured or missing license plate and the suspended or revoked license. Does he have a history?
32 total. Last was
Okay.
2022 out of Memphis for vandalism. 2010 battery DV disorderly conduct conviction. 2010 forgery in the first degree conviction. And a 07 theft by taking obstruction conviction.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on November 2nd, 2023, the officers responded to assist the Georgia State University police officer on a missing license plate traffic stop that was initiated. The officer arrived on the scene at the intersection of Forsyth Street and Alabama Street and noticed a piece of cardboard in place of the license plate in the license plate area. That read tag applied for. An NCIC and GCIC check of the vehicle registration yielded that the vehicle registration had no insurance, and an NCIC GCIC check of the Georgia identification card from the defendant yielded that he did not have a driver's license or active driver's license. And we just like to note that while being driven to the city of Atlanta jail, he tried to kick the rear window and door of the officer's car. However, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no driving without a valid license or a license plate.
Okay, if okay with you, Ms. Abden, it's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail on each offense, makes for $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No driving without a valid license and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Ms. Abden?
Yeah, that works. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
Judge, real quick, that was position number 9.
That was number 12, Mr. Gregory Johnson.
$1,000 signature bond through the jail. Okay, thank you.
Yes, okay, so let's go back to Mr. Harvey. Mrs. Harvey, are you with me? Can you hear me, Mrs. Harvey? Ms. Falk, have you had the opportunity to speak with Ms. Harvey?
Our victim advocate spoke with her earlier, which is where we received all of that information. However, subsequent to that, I'm texting her through the chat. I'm not getting a response. I will see if our victim advocate can reach out to her by phone. But I'm not getting a response either, Your Honor. Oh, it looks like she's connecting through the audio. Now, hopefully we can get the video up and running. And our victim advocate is also trying to reach out to her. Ms. Harvey, if you can hear us, can you please unmute your audio? Oh, good.
Okay,
Okay, we're halfway there.
Okay, now unmute yourself if you can, Mrs. Harvey. And while she's doing that, Ms. Abden,
Okay.
Okay. Would you like to go into a breakout room or would you just like to go off of YouTube?
I think a breakout room would be best given the nature of the testimony I'm anticipating we will hear.
Okay, so if you will place Ms. Harvey, Mr. Howard, myself, Ms. Abden, Ms. Falk, Ms. Kim into a breakout room.
And Ms. Harvey, there's nothing you need to do. Just stay as you are. Don't mute, don't change your screen, don't do anything. Just stay as you are and we'll go into the breakout room, okay?
And
Wonderful.
the court will join you in a moment.
Michael, don't forget about Ken.
Oh,
Tucson.
Francois, are you with me?
We in medical. This is medical, not in courtroom.
Okay. Let's see, we are going to give Mr. Harvey a $5,000 good bond today with conditions on that bond, but I'd like to see Mr. Harvey back on Monday. Okay, I want to see Mr. Harvey back on Monday so that we can continue to talk about placement for him. But for the present time, it'll be a $5,000 good bond. But I'd like to have him on the calendar for Monday. Okay. You're on mute there, but I see that you're saying you understand. Okay, very good. We'll see you back on Monday, Mr. Harvey. Miss Grace, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so did you get those bond conditions from Mr. Harvey?
Yes, I did.
Okay, very good. And I think that concludes the 2 o'clock calendar. So as soon as you're ready, we can go through the calendar.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Position number 1 is a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 2 is a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 3 is a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 4 is a total 3,000 good bond. Position number 5 is a 1,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 6 is a 2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 7 is a $2,000 good bond. Position 8 is a 3,000 pretrial bond. Position 9 is a 5,000 good bond, reset for 11-6 SCA. Position 10 is a $1,000 SOB jail. Position 11 was let further notice, defendant release. Position number 12 is a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 13 is a 3,000 pretrial bond. Position number 14 is a 5,000 good bond. Position number 15 is a 3,000 pretrial. Position number 16 is a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 17 is a 4,000 pretrial. Position number 18 is a 2,000 SOB through the jail. Any questions, concern, or comments?
So I ain't heard nothing, y'all. What did it, number 9 get, Harvey?
$5,000 good bond reset to 11-6 SCA.
What about number 10?
1,000 SOB through the jail.
Thank you.
Okay, you all have a safe weekend. We'll see you next time. I appreciate it.
You as well, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge.